right. Welcome, everybody. It's Friday, so, there's that. But I am here today with one of my personal favorite ones, not because, we get along from a human perspective so well, but I've also used her to help stage homes, and the experience has been phenomenal every single time, and the results were also there. So we were just chatting about one of the ones sold for full asking price. It was a very, very unique property for my town, and you've done it. You've created a space that the buyer fell in love with, and it sold. And guess what? It sold for full asking in week 3 on the market. Not day 1, because everybody can do that. Not day 2, not after the first weekend. Everybody does that. No, in week 3. So there's that. So wonderful. I hope you are ready to share some of that goodness, of that magic that you sprinkle along. Feel free to introduce yourself first, because there's nobody that introduces yourselves better than typically yourself. So take it away.
Thank you so much. So my name is Svieta Melchuk, and I am actually located in Montreal, Canada. So Janine and I met online, and all of the collaborations that we do with her and other home sellers and real estate agents, everything is done online. So I've been a professional home stager, decorator, designer, Airbnb host for the last 15 years. And I really made it my mission and my specialty to help home sellers to invest as little as possible and to get the biggest results possible, meaning that I'm very involved in each person's situation, and I genuinely take care of looking at what they've already got in their house and how we can help them utilize as much as possible of their stuff and rearrange it and maybe add some things to make sure that everything looks just fabulous and they can get the most money possible. And Janine invited me today to be part of this interview, which is specifically my thoughts about Christmas, I believe, and how to stage for Christmas. So very excited to be here and talk about that.
Right. And the first thing I think I want to mention is, yes, you are in Canada, and all of our staging consultations we've done together, we've done online. Now, most people will think, oh, online, something is going to be not transmitted. It is. Every time I have an online staging consultation, we'll do it over Zoom, just like this one. And Svieta is amazing at picking up the vibes from people. We've had clients that literally, right, they sat there like this, and the body language that she reads, and she adjusts her, her technique of talking to those people in a way where your clients will ease and just say, oh, okay, I'm in good hands. And
because a lot of it is psychology, and that's what I've learned over the last 15 years that I've been doing it, is that my job is to be honest, and my job is to tell people what I see, because at the end of the day, we all have the same goal, right? The real estate agent, the stager, and the seller, we all want the same thing. But also because a lot of people are very emotionally attached to their homes, we were just discussing that before, then I have to be mindful of how I present things and what I can say and what I cannot say and how far I can push them. And I think, that's one of my abilities and my secret sauces that have made me quite successful over the last 15 years.
Right. I agree. Couldn't have said it any better. So let's dive in. Staging during the holidays, because this tends to be a hot topic for so many people.
Indeed.
Right? So the big question, the leading question, can I put up my Christmas tree? What do you say to that?
One of the principles of home staging is to make the property as neutral and as appealing to anyone who might see it. So particularly, that what I said will apply to any Christmas decoration. So I think that if you do want to have a Christmas tree, I would allow people to have a Christmas tree, but I would also caution for it to be kind of discreet and not necessarily like this, humongous big thing that takes half of your living room. And the reason for that is that if you are going to have visits during that time, you still want to ensure that whoever visits, A, feels comfortable within your environment, and B, can really see the actual space that you have, because that's what people buy, right? They buy space. And so if you put this humongous tree that takes up half of your room, that might really distract the buyers, and they might not visualize the space the way it should be. So if you are going to use a Christmas tree or put one up, I would say you have to be careful about the size and the positioning of it.
So let's think about it from a holiday standpoint, right? Everybody celebrates some sort of holiday, Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever it might be. But then do you think like putting a little bit of like holiday cheer inside the home, there's like a nice way to do it?
So in my opinion is, it always comes down to the same thing. And I'm always thinking about the photos also. And that's something that I actually took. It's a big no for me, because whenever people shop today, they usually pre-shop on the internet. And that's when they'll look at the photos of a home, and if the photos are appealing to them, then they take the next step and they call the agent and they go see it. So if a house is super decorated for any kind of holiday or Christmas or any kind of religious symbols, then it can very much distract the buyers from seeing the actual space again. For example, a very typical example is a fireplace mantle. So, we want to see it neutral, appealing. We want maybe to put few candles, maybe some artwork, maybe a mirror. But some people go to the extreme and they put all these guirlands and the stockings and all sorts of stuff. And at the end of the day, you can't really see what the feature, the focus point of that room, which is really the fireplace, what it looks like. And for the photos, I would really caution for people not to take the professional photos when the house is decorated for the holidays, because it also dates the photos. And so if by any chance, I know we're in a very hot market right now in most cases, but you never know. So if by any chance the house takes a couple of months to sell, then people are going to be able to look at the photos and know that the photos are stale. And that's really not a good thing to do. So I would say if you really must do some holiday decorating, I usually recommend for it to be very discreet and very minimal.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the front door experience when it comes to staging, because this is where, people tend to be for a minute or two while the agent gets the key out of the lockbox. What do you think the front door should look like over the holidays?
So, you probably know already my answer based on our discussion. So everything has to do with the curb appeal. And like you said, the first impression. And again, if we follow my personal opinion, my line of thought, that, I kind of know that that's the thing that needs to be done over the last 15 years. I think there's certain things that I agree with for the front door. It has to be appealing. It has to be clean. It has to be welcoming. So there are some things that you can do. So for example, make sure that your lights outside are nice and shiny and clean. You can maybe put some nice planters with some, nice Christmas poinsettia, they're called, those plants. Or any other pine branches or something like that. It could look really pretty and welcoming. Mats. You can always change depending on the climate where you live. I live in Montreal, where right now we have like a foot of snow on the ground, but you can put a nice welcome mat. Again, it doesn't have to be something gaudy with reindeers and stuff, but it could just say something, welcome or something like that. And you're going to probably ask me about the wreaths, right? So I think, again, it's something that a lot of people ask me actually. Is it okay if I put a Christmas wreath up? And my answer usually is yes, but again, let's not go overboard. Like, don't put 3, don't put 5, maybe just put 1 and put something that is pretty and updated and something that goes with the style of your house. And that's going to be fine. So I think there are ways of decorating your entrance and the front door. Now, I know we're talking about those blow ups that everybody puts up.
I'm like, yeah, let's talk about the front yard. How do you feel about the blow up?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Like, I think that's where I draw the line, right? Because I think it's too much, and it's really just detracts your buyers from the view. And what you want them to look at is not the blow-ups, Santa Claus and stuff that you have in the front yard. You really want them to focus on the beauty of your front yard, your walkway, and your house, the actual building. So you always have to be mindful of that. Whatever you do when you're decorating, the decorating has to be support system, but the main feature still remains your house. So you have to be careful.
So if we're highlighting the house, how do you feel about like light decoration? When they like go super nicely and neatly along the.
I think it's very cute. It's if you go with like small white lights, it's very festive, it's pretty, and it really highlights the beauty of the house.
Architectural like lines of it.
Yes. Yes, and if you bring somebody in the evening, it looks really nice and welcoming. But then if somebody starts putting lights that are huge and flash everywhere, and they're green and red, and like that's kind of not okay at that point. So again, you can do everything as long as it's done tastefully.
So let's talk about the dinner table then, because that is one of the ones that I know. The way you solve the dinner table is personally one of my favorites because, again, we've worked together in the past, and we have had the mutual client that was put through living with a set table, and they were just saying it's horrible. We eat on this table. We have to constantly move the thing.
Yeah,
showings.
I don't do that. Honestly, exactly for that reason. So if the house is vacant, and let's say we do a staging of a vacant home, then it's a different story. You can set the table. Even then, I kind of find it a little too staged, if you know what I mean. Like, it looks like too much, and it's very traditional. In more contemporary look, you could just maybe put a centerpiece. You could put some candles or some nice vases or something on the table. So I don't feel that it's really necessary to have the plates and the silverware and the glasses out. And especially for people who live in the house, and if they're actually using the table, I would never recommend for them to do that. So the other thing is, which is important, is actually the size of the table and the number of chairs, right? For the staging purposes, for the selling purposes, I would always encourage them to make the table smaller, maybe take out the expansion leaf and then just put 4 chairs around the table. So it could be a little bit of an inconvenience if they're entertaining during the holidays. But then again, I always try to make it in a way that it's feasible and simple enough for people to go one way or the other. I never complicate, I try to not complicate their life. And so the table, I don't think it really need to be dressed for the staging purposes. We could work around and it just have something in the center that's easier to take off and put back on.
Would be right. So the size of the table, that's a good one. We really didn't hint on that one, because I know there's people that will just, from Thanksgiving onward, leave the leaf in because it's easy. But I mean, it doesn't take that much to make a table big and small. So if you're hosting Thanksgiving and then you're hosting Christmas again, you have 4 weeks in between where you can technically take it out. So let's talk about the biggest no-no then. I know you already hinted on it.
Yeah, I think my biggest no-no is to, just going overboard in whatever decorating you do. And the other no-no, as I mentioned before, it's having your professional photos taken with all the seasonal or Christmas decorating or any kind of religious symbols for that matter.
Well, that was fun. And we'll make sure we'll have the links and everything available. thank you so much for sharing the expertise and, pointing out little things like table size, something we have not talked about it at all today. So really enjoyed that. You never know where things lead us, but that was a good one. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janine, and I'll talk to you soon.